Hello, my fellow couch potatoes. I'm Dan Waters, back with a very special edition of the Couch Potato Report. No, we're not talking about any college football games on this particular episode in this series. Talking about what just transpired in New York with the Heisman Trophy. Woo! Oh yes, so as it's always great every year, the Heisman, one of the last things to commemorate the best player of the college football season, something that we always look forward to. What made this year's a little bit different was that there was a lot more going into this Heisman than usual. A lot more parody, a lot more unique storylines and everything like that. So let's get into it. Okay, obviously, as we know, the three candidates, Colin Klein of Kansas State, their quarterback, Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel from Texas A&M, their quarterback, all athlete, all whatever, runner, thrower, you name it. And of course, sort of the sentimental favorite in this group, Manti Te'o, the linebacker from Notre Dame. Obviously, we all know what happened with him this year. He lost his grandmother, he lost his girlfriend, all within about a 2-week span. So, he was obviously the sentimental favorite going into it. But now, the case for all of these guys, all three had just unbelievable seasons. Making the case for each of them real quickly just to start. Obviously, with Manti Te'o, the senior team captain, now playing for the national championship with Notre Dame, won the Maxwell Award just last week, which goes to the nation's most outstanding player. And his stats are very, very good. 7 interceptions, over 100 tackles in a 12-game span. He's playing for the number one ranked team. He was the undoubted face of that team this year. So, of course, a lot to be said, about his season. Then you get to Johnny Manziel, and boy, this guy just burst onto the scene this year as a redshirt freshman playing in the ACC. Wow, brain fart. Playing for the SEC, the undoubted most competitive conference in all of the nation. A redshirt freshman. His stats are just insanely good. It's something I don't think any of us have seen in quite a long time. Passing-wise, 3,400 yards, 24 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and that's basically the touchdown to games played ratio, 2-1. You only played 12 games, he threw 24 touchdowns, so he's throwing an average of 2 a game, and that's just passing. Getting into his rushing stats, he had almost 1,200 yards, 19 touchdowns, and a 6 yards per carry average. So now if you can do the math on all that, that means he accounted for 4,600 of Texas A&M's offensive yards this year. Dual threat, had a lot of big wins with, of course, the Alabama win was huge, a lot of other big wins in the SEC, so a lot going in for him. And then Colin Klein, kind of the one that wasn't really getting a lot of attention at all. Again, senior quarterback from Kansas State, who he led a team who had a much better year than expected. Not a ton of people had Kansas State on their radar to start the season, but he led them to a pretty good year. They were actually number one ranked for a very little bit. Again, in that sort of mid-November stretch where it was just like every other week we had the number one team going down, and you had Bama going down for the one game. Kansas State took over number one the following week. Then they lost to Baylor. So, but still, his stats are good, not great. Passing yards, 2,500 yards, 15 touchdowns. Rushing, he had 900 yards with 22 touchdowns. Unfortunately for him, those don't even come close to what Johnny Manziel did. So he kind of came out as the not likely choice of the group. So, as we all noticed in the week following the announcement of these three men as the candidates for the Heisman, there were really two schools of thought that sort of emerged from, the analysts, the professional analysts, not the couch potatoes. We just comment on what we see. We don't actually create the news. So yeah, there were basically two schools of thought. You had the old school of thought, which was basically the Heisman is kind of more like commemorating a career, a good, strong career. And then you had the new school of thought, which is, the yearly award. It's based on who has the best year. And that's really what I think has been happening, at least in recent years. The idea that it's given as part of a career award, that's sort of like the Lee Corso way of thinking. Of course, Lee Corso, famous for his crazy antics on the college football countdown show on ESPN. He always said he'd never vote for a freshman, mainly because he's a freshman. He's still got so much other time to do it. So, of course, that's why some people were hesitant to just award it straight to Johnny Manziel. Because if you're looking just at this year, it's tough to argue against Johnny Manziel's case. You can't argue with those numbers, can't argue with those wins. The wins, the only knock against him was he had 2 losses, but hey, he's a redshirt freshman, and he's in the SEC. So, 2 losses with that scenario, not too bad. So obviously Manziel won it. He won the Heisman. Gotta admit, as you know from these podcasts, I do have a special place in my heart for Notre Dame, so I was pulling for Manti Te'o, but hey, doesn't really take anything away from what was a great season for him and for Notre Dame. So Manziel wins. He's only a redshirt freshman, which means he could do it 2 more times at least. You know, his sophomore year, his junior year. If he stays on his senior year, hey, we could have a 4-time Heisman winner. That's obviously never happened, right? So yes, Manziel, the first ever freshman to win the award. Congratulations to him. And you know, I'd be remiss if I didn't give a good congratulations to both Colin Klein and Manti Te'o, both of whom are seniors. I mean, Colin Klein's probably going to be looking forward to the Senior Bowl now, and of course his bowl game to display his quarterbacking skills to the NFL. Manti Te'o, what else can you say about him? He's going to be playing for the BCS Championship in January. His team's looking to, make history. He's also probably going to be a top NFL pick, a top 10 NFL pick maybe. He's arguably one of the best players going into next year's NFL draft, especially at the defensive position and the middle linebacker position, which, you haven't really seen a whole lot of good middle linebackers come out, at least in recent years. So again, good luck to both of them. Congratulations, Johnny Manziel, on winning the Heisman. And we'll see how Johnny Football, as he's been nicknamed, we'll see how he and the Texas A&M team do in their bowl game. They're going to be playing in the Cotton Bowl. And this is the perfect segue to a Couch Potato Report announcement. Our next program will be our bowl special. Everything about, the upcoming BCS season, bowl week, everything with the end of December and into January, all the great bowl games. Of course, you have your main bowl games, which is the Orange Bowl, Rose Bowl, Fiesta Sugar, and of course the BCS Championship. We won't limit it to just that, because there's even some bowls, some of the more minor bowls outside of that, which are also very interesting and have some interesting storylines going into them. So we'll talk about all that. That'll be coming up sometime within the week. Again, that'll be our bowl preview. We'll be looking forward to that. As always, thank you for tuning in to this special edition of the Couch Potato Report, our Heisman special. Congratulations, Johnny Manziel. Once again, I'm Dan Waters with the Couch Potato Report. Talk to you again soon.